Hi, and welcome to the first of our 6-week summer series of how to cope with various issues that you and your crystal child may experience as you go through life with them. What's absolutely wonderful is that there are so many of you parents and carers and grandparents and even crystal children that have connected through to our Facebook page, where we energetically come together and support all of you and them in their journey here on earth at this time. Today's information tutorial, if you like, it's about energy plays. And the reason that it came about is that I've worked with crystal children now for at least 30 years. I have 5 children, 5 crystal children of my own. And one very common problem that a lot of parents seem to experience is that their children find it very hard to be in busy public spaces. And I can totally relate to that to myself, because that is something that I personally have an issue with. Probably you as parents probably find you're ending up with the same issues as well. And then there is a reason for that. If you were to be able to look at your child's energy field, and an energy field is something that we all have, that we have a physical body. Our body is constantly generating, regenerating. Your cells are being born, multiplying, your cells are dying, your heart's beating, you're generating heat. So there is not only your physical body, but there is this energy field that exists around your body. And something very amazing that modern technology can now do is that it can actually take a photo of your energy field. So somebody like me, whose psyche's open, can actually see somebody's energy field around them. But like a lot of people who are quite cynical about those kind of gifts and talents, there is something called a Carillion camera that can actually take a photo of your energy field. So it's not mumbo jumbo, it's actual real fact. And if you were to be able to look at crystal childs, or somebody that was had done a lot of energy work on themselves, if you were to be able to look at the energy field around them, it's very, very bright white, and it shines like a white crystal light. So hence the term, we refer to them as crystal children. It refers to their beautiful white electromagnetic light energy field that exists around them. And what happens is, as they go around through life, is that they become like energy sponges. So when they're around negative people, or situations where there's lots of people releasing emotions or having mental not issues as in being mentally unstable, but where somebody's very stressed about something, their little energy field will act like a transporter, if you like. It draws in the negativity or the energy that's being released, and it transmutes it up or transmutes it down into the crystal grid of the earth. And for that reason, these crystal children can become very hypersensitive, especially around large groups of people. And what they find is that they are experiencing other people's emotions and other people's stress, and they can't discern it from and the other person's to themselves. So they are feeling everything that everybody else is feeling. They can experience the same physical symptoms that somebody else is feeling, and it leaves them very confused. And they find it almost impossible to be around large groups of people, because their little bodies having to cope with all of that energy that's going on. And for some of the children, they can make a decision, and for some of you probably as parents of crystal children know, they will refuse to go to busy places. And so what I've done today is I've using some very simple techniques. I've used one source of information for these two techniques, though there are many other techniques that you can use. But personally, because I'm something called a transference healer, these are two techniques that I use within my healing modality, and personally, I find that they are the best for me personally. And you may well like to send me a comment or send me some messages about other techniques that you've used to help you cope with dealing with people's energies around yourself and your children. And that would be fantastic. And it would be great to share with everybody else, because I'm sure there are other people who would like to look at other options as well. So the first thing I want to say is that because everything in the universe is energy. So even space, which looks like it's dark, is full of energy and stars and explosions. And so everything is vibrating. So it has a vibration. And if you were to look at what that would look like, and it would create like a sound wave. So if you've ever seen a sound wave, sometimes they do this, sometimes they do this, sometimes they are little and small, but everything's vibrating at a frequency, we call it. And we are able to control the energy and our vibration and things that exist around us through our intent. Now that might sound very, very strange, but intent is everything. I truly believe that. And what happens is where intent goes, energy flows. So just as an example in that, if you're somebody that focuses your life on negative things and, oh, I had an awful day yesterday and, oh, I have an awful day tomorrow, your experience in your life is nothing but negativity. That's what you experience. You experience what you think and feel and vibrate. That's the word I'm going to use. Whereas if you're somebody, and you probably know them, like little children, a lot of the children are like this. They're always happy, they're always positive, and they have this wonderful life, carefree. They don't worry about anything in the world, and they have another experience of life. And I relate to my own childhood, where I'm one of four. And my experience of my childhood was I had this wonderful, happy childhood, and everything was wonderful. My parents were wonderful. And I spent my life being an eternal optimist. Whereas, one of my sisters, she experienced her childhood as being something negative. And so for her, she's had to live with clearing that as her negative experience. And so the reason I'm saying that is that when we're working with clearing the issues that we have in our life and working with our children, our intent behind what we're doing is everything. And we are so powerful as human beings. I watched a very interesting guy called Dr. Emoto. And Dr. Emoto is an amazing scientist, and you can go and research him online. And his work showed that we have the power to change the structure of water, the crystalline structure of water. And we can do that through the power of our words, our thoughts, and our intent. And in his experiments, what he took was a beaker of water I think it was from the Fujikama River in Japan, which is one of the most toxic, poisoned rivers, which when they examined the crystal structure of the water under with microscope, and it's a microphone with a microscope, they showed it had no crystalline structure at all. They then took that same water and they strapped the word love to it, just the word love, and they left it, froze the water overnight, and then when they went back to examine the crystal structure of the water had totally changed. It had this beautiful snowflake crystalline structure. Now, the reason that I'm saying that is because our bodies are at least 75% water. Everything we say and everything we think and do, I believe, is impacting the the crystalline structure of the water within us. And so everything we say, think and do is really important. And for you as mums dealing with your crystal children, your thoughts and the things that you say are so important, because they have an impact, not only an emotional impact upon your children and people around you, but also can have an emotional, a mental and a physical impact upon your emotions. Now, if you just think about when you've had an argument with somebody and you there's been a lot of nasty words said and you're feeling really yuck about it, and now in the human body, that 99% of the time you will feel here in your solar plexus area. People physically feel sick when they're feeling really upset about something. So they're being really impacted in this area of the body. Now, this area of the body, on one level, is of course your solar plexus, but on a deeper level is something called the feeling vortex. And the feeling vortex is like, if I was to put a saucepan lid in front of my tummy here, it represents like an energy field deep within the body behind the solar plexus area. And this feeling vortex is where energy is filtered in and out of the etheric body. Now, your etheric body is your energy field. It's the energy field that you can't see, and it feeds into the body through your feeling vortex. So what is the link between feeling yuck when there's stuff going on around you and the feeling vortex? Well, what happens is, because what happens is when you make a connection with somebody, whether that's through a phone conversation or by passing them by in the street, or sitting down having dinner and you notice somebody just looking at you on the next table, what's happening is that you're making an energetic connection. So just that glance to that person to think, oh, who is that sitting there? Or just a high wave to the person that you pass on the street, or the hello phone call that you make with somebody on the phone, you're making an energetic connection with them. And what happens is when you make that energetic connection, absolutely instantly, you can see, if you were to be able to see it with your special camera, but I'm going to show you what it looks like, or help you see what it looks like. There is a thread that comes from that person's feeling vortex, solar plexus area, and it connects into your feeling vortex area, just here. And it becomes like a piece of spaghetti. And that piece of spaghetti is like a fiber optic cable. So it then connects you with that other person, and everything they're then feeling is then connecting into you, and everything you're then feeling is connecting into them. So it becomes like a two-way process of you're constantly, from that moment, from making that energetic connection, connected with that person. And you can be going through life and suddenly feeling really rubbish and absolutely having no idea where you are, but why you are, because there's no reason. And the reason is because so many of us don't realise that this feeling vortex area of our bodies is like rammed with all these little phone tentacles that are whizzing out to Auntie Jo and your mum who's been moaning about her arthritis or whatever. And you've got all that connection still going on, and you're walking around like a big receiver, and the bigger it gets, the heavier it becomes, and the more down you become, and you can't lift your energy. And that is exactly the same with the crystal children, except it's about 20 times worse, because they are so sensitive that their energy field is connecting into other people's energy field. So they don't even need to talk to those people or look at them. They're sucking it in. And what happens is when this area of the feeling vortex becomes very depleted, it can impact the electromagnetic field of the body, which can start to become impacted by ultraviolet rays, which are caused by solar flare activity. And people can become very oversensitive their glandular system can be impacted because the energy system feeds into your glandular system, and people can become really sick. And your children can express that with things like, I don't want to go to school today. They can't necessarily tell you why. Or every time it's time to go to school, they feel sick. And the reason for that is because it's kind of like they can't cope with anymore. They know what they're going to go back to. They're going to go back to the same kind of feelings. So this is a really, really important procedure. There's two of them. The first is called the feeling vortex procedure. And this is something that you can run on your child and on yourself. And this is something that you can do whenever you like, wherever you like. And before I go shopping into a busy place, I not only put on my sunglasses, so I don't have to look at too many people. Nothing wrong with it, but that's just how that feels for me. And I do this procedure. So your feeling vortex, I'm just going to stand back slightly from the camera so I can see, is my solar plexus area. I'm going to stand on tiptoes. Hopefully the camera can pick me up. And I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to put my hands in to feel where this energy field is. And I'm using my intent to do this. So I'm setting in my mind that I'm going to tune into this area. So I'm tuning into this area, and I'm just going to put my hands around about there where I can feel that my feeling vortex is. Some of you may try to feel where it is, and it might be around here. That's okay. That means we need to work on that. So we're going to work at closing this down, clearing it out so that you can go into a busy space, but also so that you can clear other people's energies and hook-ins from yourself. So I'm feeling it. So mine is around here at the moment. So what I'm then going to do, and again, I'm going to use my intent, right? And I'm going to feel into here, and I'm going to imagine I can feel these tentacles or these bits of spaghetti that are hooked into my solar plexus here. Now, if you're somebody like Victoria Beckham, where you're having to be in the public limelight all the time and people are constantly projecting and making judgments about you, this will become very impacted for her. So I'm glad I'm not Victoria Beckham. So as I've said, so we're coming back to here, and I'm going to imagine I've got tentacles coming out. I can feel the hook-ins from other people. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to pull them out and I'm going to flick them away. And I'm going to keep flicking until I can feel that there's none left. Now, for those of you doing this for the first time, you might find you need to do this several times. So I'm just going to show you. So you just keep going, pull it out, flick it away. It's gone, it's gone. And as you're doing it, feel all those people who've hooked into you, who you've hooked into, just feel it all clearing away. Okay, so mine's now nice and clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it down so it's smaller. So that means I'm then less sensitive and there's less space for people to hook into me energetically. So I'm going to bring my hands together, and then I'm just going to twist round. And as I twist round, I imagine that hole there, that space there, getting smaller. So can you see I've twisted mine now into about the size of a 50p piece. Not sure what that is in if there was an equal coin in America, but it's about that size. And you can see that? About that size. If I was to put my thumb and my first finger together, that would be the size I would twist it into. All right, so that's me closed it down. Next, I'm going to put some nice white light into there to resource it, to make it all sparkly clean again. So it's like putting some protection into it to keep it clear. And I'm going to hold my hand here over my little 50p piece that I've created. I don't know if you can see that. This is my hand here. And I'm going to take my other hand and I'm going to imagine I've filled it with a beautiful white ball of light. And I'm going to pull that white ball of light down and I'm going to put it into there. So again, I'm just using my intent, my thought. I see it in my mind's eye. I see that white light. Here it is. Down it comes. And I just put it into there. And as it goes into there, I feel it resourcing all this area and it goes out through my body, clears all my energy field, my etheric body, clears all my aura. So everything's clear. I've cleared it of all the people, all the negativity, all of Auntie Mary's gossiping stories about their naughty neighbour, etc., etc. So I'm going to do that very quickly again for you so you can see how quickly it is. So I feel into here, pull it in slightly, pull out all the things. This is what I'll do before I go shopping. Then I'll twist it round very quickly. Then I'll take my ball of light. Here it is. straight into there, feel it going to my body, and I'm done. And that's something that you can do on your own child. So, just trying to see if I can do it against the wall. So I could take, if I'm doing it on my own child, I will be there. I will pull out, flick, flick, flick. I will twist around slightly. I will fill with white light, push it straight into them so they can see it going throughout their body. So that's something very easy to do, especially when your children are feeling and yourself are feeling very overwhelmed by circumstances, and when they're in the middle of things called power plays, where people are trying to draw you into their dramas. The second technique I'm going to show you is called the severing karmic pain procedure. Now, we all have had relationships in our lives, whether that's been with a partner, or whether that's been with family members or a neighbour. We've had one of those kind of relationships that's been there within our lives, and I call them karmic relationships. They're there to teach us a lesson. And though the lessons can seem hard at times, there is something to be grateful for in those kind of relationships, in that invariably they're sent to us, and equally we are sent to them for us to learn something. And like most people's most painful karmic relationships are normally for a relationship or a family member, and I'm sure you can all relate to that. Now, what happens with those kind of karmic relationships is that people can get very stuck with them. They can get very stuck with things that have happened in the past, things that have happened in relationships that make them unable to move forward in their life. Because if you don't clear those karmic patterns and those karmic behaviors that you've got used to, because believe it or not, people get very comfortable in a karmic relationship where they suddenly find themselves back in the same kind of argument patterns, and hey ho, we're back in the same argument, going over the same stuff. You did this last year, you did that last year, you always say that, you always say that. And believe it or not, people actually enjoy the comfort of that kind of real negative relationship. So what I'm showing you here is a very simple technique to help you start to clear those people that have moved on or out of your life, those situations which were negative and no longer serve you. But these are also very important for your children, because your children will develop little relationships with people at school and find themselves in situations where they suddenly become very fearful, and they remember that fearful experience, and instead of being able to move on from it, they then find themselves not wanting to try the same experience because they're remembering the fearful experience from last time. It is good for children to be wary of things, and I'm not saying that children shouldn't be wary of things, but what I'm saying is that, just as an example, a little boy went swimming, and some man said something inappropriate to him, and he got frightened, and as a consequence wouldn't go swimming again. And that's just like a one-off story. So it's that kind of thing where the children have got themselves, irrationally afraid of something, and so this is how to help them deal with that. So I am going to put a negative situation, and so let me just think. So I had a fire when I was one of my children was 2, and there was a fire in the house, and unfortunately I'd left candles burning. I'd gone downstairs, the house had caught fire. I happened to go upstairs to find black smoke about a foot above my child's bed. And that for me was a very negative situation. It's something then that's left me afraid of fire ever since, unsurprisingly. So what you would do in this situation, I'm going to take my negative situation, I'm thinking about it, and I'm going to take something called my power finger. Now, if you were to imagine you were a princess or a magician with a magic wand, and you would your magic wand would be your extension of your power finger. So your power finger is where we're going to have light coming out of, as if you're a magician. So my power finger that I'm going to use is my middle finger. And you can choose whichever one you want. And it doesn't matter, as I said, intent is everything. And my power finger is going to be pointing at my belly button. So I've got my bad situation in my head, and I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to point it at my belly button, and I'm going to imagine golden yellow light coming out. And it's going to come out and it's going to go into my belly button. And as I shoot it in there, golden yellow light, I'm going to put a drop of amber in there, amber that's in the crystal, drop of amber, and then I'm going to cut, just cut. I'm going to cut that situation and flick it away, like we did with the tentacles. So golden yellow, drop of amber, flick and cut away. And every time that situation comes back into my head, I'll do exactly the same thing. And what will happen is the more you do it, the less and less that comes up for you. And it's exactly the same with relationships or toxic people that you've tried to clear from your life, that you need to clear from your life. So as well as getting rid of their phone number off your phone, as well as getting rid of them off as friends off Facebook, and don't worry, you won't be the only one who's trying to clear a toxic relationship and has still got all those things in place. This is a really good exercise to energetically clear them from you. So we're going to take somebody that you don't want to be part of your life anymore, that you keep thinking about, that keeps trying to come back into your life. You're going to clear them. So we're going to take that person in mind, and we're going to golden yellow light into my belly button, drop of amber essence into my belly button, and I'm going to clip and throw it away. Clip and throw it away. Now that doesn't mean that you don't love that person anymore, because some people need to clear family members from their life. That means what you're doing is you're clearing the karmic connection between you and that person, so that those silly energy plays that keep going on, those silly games where, mum always rings you and tells you she's sick and you have to sit and listen to it and you have to be very loving and kind, but you get off the phone and you're feeling, oh God, and I feel so down myself having listened to my mum moan for half an hour. Something like that. That's another situation where you would say, okay, I need to clear mum's energy from me. I need to clear that. So it doesn't mean you don't love your mum anymore. It just means you're going to clear mum's energy. So you would think of mum, think golden yellow, drop of amber, cut mum away, boom. And if you like, send her away with love. And you can do exactly the same for your child. So when your child is not wanting to be is afraid of something or is worried about something and doesn't maybe want to go and speak to that nasty teacher at school, you can clear the nasty teacher's energy doing exactly the same way. You say to your child, my child's going to be here, and I'm going to put, okay, nasty teacher's energy. Okay, we're going to clear your nasty teacher. You had a bad day at school. We're going to go golden yellow, drop of amber, cut her away, say thanks to the teacher, and send it away. And those two things, those two procedures are very powerful procedures, and that will help you as a start to clear and help your children and yourselves function in the world. Now, those two procedures are from a really amazing book called Beyond Doorways by a wonderful lady called Alexis Cartwright. I don't sell it, but the link to where you can buy it from is in the information for the live feed. So I hope that helped. Please contact me or message me. We have other things that we normally can use as light workers. We sage ourselves a lot. We burn white candles a lot. White candles are really good for clearing negativity from a house where maybe there's been an argument and the energy is really in the house. You can burn white sage and you can light white candles, and that's very good at lifting the energy in a place as well, because your children will not only pick up on people's emotions, people's energy, but they will pick up on the energy in a place as well. And if you can relate yourself to maybe going to do house hunting and you'll walk into a place and you'll say, ooh, don't like this place. And you don't necessarily put your finger on why, but you're intuitively picking up that it's not, the vibe isn't so good for you, and there's no rational reason for that. So that is another example of where energetically we're picking up on things. So my suggestion to you is that if, for example, you've been, especially somewhere like a hospital, with a lot of ill people, releasing a lot of emotions and feeling a lot of things, is that you, when you leave negative places or busy places, they're not necessarily all places are negative, where you've been around a lot of people, is that you come home, you disconnect from them, you clear your feeling vortex, or do your severing karmic pain, so you're not connected with anybody that you've come in contact with anymore. And I hope that helped. Please send me any messages on the message board. Next week's info tutorial is already up, and we'll be looking at past lives and your children, and then how they talk and experience past lives, and that's a fascinating subject. So if you have any stories to send me about the past lives, about any of your children talking about past lives, then please do. It'd be really exciting to share. Thank you for joining us, and lots of love. See you next week. Bye bye.